She's also quoted in this article saying, "I'm a theater kid that got everything she wanted."
Problem is that no one's lining up. No one's going to watch this film.
I mean, I've noticed it slowing down, but they're doing everything they can to revive this discourse over and over and over again.
Gaming star Rachel Zegler for the underperformance
Got so devastating for her that she had to turn to therapy and psychiatric medication to cope with how difficult this was.
She was then criticized for dragging her personal politics in the middle of promoting a movie.
What happens when a rising Hollywood star takes on one of the most iconic roles in theater history and turns it into a viral catastrophe? Rachel Zegler, the actress who captured hearts in West Side Story, stepped onto London's West End stage in 2025 to play Eva Perón in Evita. But instead of a triumphant debut, she sparked a firestorm that's left her career hanging by a thread. Was this a bold reimagining or a disrespectful disaster? Let's unravel the chaos that's got everyone talking, and it's way bigger than you think. The moment Rachel Zegler stepped onto that balcony as Eva Perón, the theater world held its breath. This was her chance to prove she could dominate the stage as effortlessly as she did the screen. But what unfolded was anything but graceful. Dressed in Evita's iconic white gown, Zegler didn't just perform, she went all out, raising her arms like a political firebrand, shouting lines with a fervor that felt more like a rally than a tribute. Eva Perón's real-life balcony speeches in Argentina weren't just theater. They were history, carrying the weight of a nation's hopes and struggles. Fans expected reverence, but what they got was a spectacle. Social media erupted, with clips of the scene racking up millions of views. One viral post called it Evita, the Dictator Remix, splicing her gestures with authoritarian figures for laughs. British critics were less kind, slamming it as tone-deaf and historically detached. The backlash wasn't just loud, it was personal. And this was only the spark. Just when the online storm was brewing, Rachel threw gasoline on the fire. In a now-deleted Instagram story, she posted a black screen with white text that read, "London was never ready for a woman who speaks power," followed by a laughing emoji. To her fans, it was a fierce clapback, a young star refusing to bow to critics. But to London's theater community, it was a slap in the face. The West End isn't just a stage, it's a cultural institution where every role carries centuries of tradition. That post, dropped in the heat of the controversy, wasn't seen as empowerment. It was arrogance. The tabloids pounced, with headlines screaming, "Ego over Evita" and "Hollywood diva mocks London stage." Even worse, the timing couldn't have been worse. As complaints flooded the mayor's office and venues distanced themselves, that one post turned a performance misstep into a full-blown cultural insult. But the real drama was brewing somewhere else, behind the curtains. Backstage, the Evita production was falling apart. Leaked group chats from cast and crew painted a grim picture. One message allegedly read, "She thinks she's Eva reincarnated. Nobody can talk to her anymore." Another claimed, "We're all just props in the Rachel Zegler show." Sources say tensions started weeks before the balcony scene, with missed cues, last-minute script changes, and what one insider called a refusal to take direction. After the Instagram post, things hit a breaking point. Some crew members reportedly threatened to walk out, fed up with what they saw as Zegler's disregard for the production's legacy. A stagehand, speaking anonymously to a British outlet, said morale was at an all-time low. Even the director stepped in, holding a tense private meeting to urge Rachel to tone it down and avoid public comments. Word is, it didn't go well. Audience members started noticing the strain, with reviews describing the stage energy as tense and disconnected. One viral post put it bluntly, "You could feel the hate in the air. It wasn't acting anymore at the ease." But the chaos didn't stop at the theater doors. London's theater community wasn't about to let this slide. The West End is a sacred space where every performance is expected to honor the craft and history behind it. Zegler's approach, flashy, loud, and unapologetically American, felt like an invasion. Reports surfaced that London's mayor, furious over the cultural insult, issued a private statement to theater administrators, expressing disappointment and hinting at consequences. While no official ban was confirmed, whispers of an unofficial blacklisting started circulating. Then came the petition. Titled "Keep Rachel Zegler Out of London Theatre," it exploded online, racking up 60,000 signatures in a week. It didn't just criticize her performance, It accused her of mocking historical trauma and treating the stage as a stepping stone for clout. Comments from West End season ticket holders and theater students were brutal, with one viral post declaring, "This isn't about politics, it's about professionalism." The outrage wasn't just online. Local artists planned a protest performance outside the theater, a silent reenactment of the balcony scene done right, followed by a moment of silence for the role's integrity. And that wasn't even the worst of it. The divide over Rachel Zegler was stark. Her supporters, mostly younger fans and some Hollywood allies, hailed her as a trailblazer, arguing she was shaking up a stuffy industry with bold choices. They saw the backlash as rooted in tradition or even prejudice, with some calling it a witch hunt against a young Latina actress. But her critics, especially in the UK, weren't having it. They argued she disrespected a global icon and the West End's legacy. Even some of her former defenders started to waver. Influencers who once praised her casting went silent, with a few deleting old posts. The petition's comment section became a battleground, with theatergoers venting frustration and students saying they'd lost respect for their former idol. One particularly stinging comment read, "She's not being cancelled, she's being confronted." The tide was turning, and fast. But what was Rachel planning next? Whispers from her inner circle suggest she's not ready to back down. Sources say her team is scrambling for a redemption arc. Some speculate she'll do a high-profile interview, framing the backlash as a misunderstanding or an attack on her identity. Others think she might quietly exit the production, citing personal reasons, and pivot back to film, where her style might find a safer home. There's even talk of a carefully worded apology, cloaked in empowerment language to appease fans without admitting fault. But here's the risky part. Some insiders claim she's considering doubling down, using the controversy to paint herself as a visionary silenced by tradition. It's a bold move, one that could either rebuild her brand or torch what's left of her theater career. Whatever she chooses, the stakes couldn't be higher. And this drama is bigger than just one actress. This isn't just about Rachel Zegler, it's a clash of worlds. Hollywood thrives on reinvention, remaking stories to fit modern narratives. But London's West End? It's a guardian of authenticity, where history isn't a prop, it's the foundation. Zegler's performance and her unapologetic attitude became a lightning rod for a broader debate. Can Hollywood stars waltz into international art scenes and rewrite the rules? UK tabloids leaned in hard, with one calling her a TikTok performer dropped into Shakespeare country. Another labeled it an American cultural invasion. The fallout has theaters rethinking how they handle American imports, with talk of stricter contracts around public conduct and role integrity. Rachel, without meaning to, might have changed the game for how global productions are cast. But at what cost to her own future? So, where does Rachel Zegler go from here? Her career is at a crossroads. Some stars bounce back from public scandals, turning criticism into fuel for a comeback. Others fade, clinging to the idea they were just misunderstood. London's theater world doesn't forget easily, and with 60,000 signatures demanding her exile, the road ahead looks brutal. Will she pull off a redemption arc that wins back the critics, or has she burned too many bridges to ever step onto a West End stage again? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. The leaks, the rumors, the headlines, they're dropping by the hour. Want to know what happens next in Rachel Zegler's Evita saga? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next twist could be the wildest yet.